Good morning, Sister Sheila.
Good morning, Patrizia.
Thank you very much for accepting this interview. We are in the middle of the Laudato Si week, 5 years of this wonderful letter of Pope Francis.
Yes.
And we know as UISG, and you are very busy and committed for this project, also in the name and on behalf of the UISG.
Right.
But the first question I want to ask you, you are a Franciscan sister.
Here I am.
Can you tell us what's the message that Laudato Si has been telling you as Franciscan sister to your spirituality?
Well, what comes through so loud and clear is everything is interconnected. And we're starting out with the title, Laudato Si, we're already praising God. And that certainly was a message that St. Francis was able to say, because everything he saw was brother or sister. It was in relationship. He loved God, so the family of God was a part of his life. But he saw the environment and he saw care for the poor as interconnected. That was so important to him. And the fact that he had to kiss the leper in order to see in his own heart that he was converted, that needed to be a sign to him. And in that kissing, he saw the Christ figure. And so that message that Pope Francis is trying to say to us, that is, the crisis is both ecological and social. We can't separate the two. All of this is about relationship, and we need to be in relationship with reality. We need to be able to come from our heart, a heart that we know has been touched by the love of God. And in that way, we are able to reach out to one another in a way that is genuine and it is caring. And Laudato Si talks about education, inspiration for change. So we have to constantly look for ways to renew our vocation, to renew the way that we look out to others. And I think Pope Francis captured this with his Jesuit initiative in terms of love. Everything is about love. And Padre Arupe had summed that up so well, that it's about love, because that is what gets you up in the morning. That lets you know what you read, what you're concerned about, who you relate to. So I see that whole message interconnected. It's about the message of love, but a Franciscan way of loving. And I see that so well explained in Laudato Si. He talks about the patriarch Bartholomew, and he talks about Teresa Lisieux. He says, don't let a moment pass by that you don't show people that you care about them. And be concerned about the world. Be concerned about consumerism. We all can fall into that trap. We don't always look for answers in technology. We have to live the moment. We're in a crisis here in terms of the climate. Pay attention to the scientists. We can't pick and choose when we want to listen to the scientists. We have data before us. We need to make a change, and we need to be able to do that together. We need to find a way that we can work together that energizes us to make a difference. And I find that Laudato Si, I have read that over many times, at least 3 times in English, once in Spanish, and once in Italian. So I tell you, this message sings with my heart and moves me forward in a way that matters to me.
Thank you, Sheila. I forgot to remind your congregation, because there are a lot of Franciscan congregations.
Okay,
which is your
yes.
congregation?
Okay. Franciscan Sisters, Daughters of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, FCJM. Thank you.
Okay. As you said before, we are living a very special time, because COVID is teaching us something.
Yes.
My question is, which is the wisdom of the spirituality of integral ecology for this time for us?
It's really very interesting, because the financial crisis which preceded this global pandemic is very similar to a situation that happened back in Europe in terms of the whole Black Plague. And so the Franciscans came to the fore to talk about an economy that really respected the dignity of the person. And so what I find here with Laudato Si, because of the spirit that's pervasive in that, is that it has a way of moving forward with this pandemic. And this commission that Pope Francis has initiated, Commission for COVID-19, is really charged with task force groups to deal with the economy, to deal with ecology, to deal with health, and to deal with security issues, all in light of Laudato Si, and to do this in light of the see, judge, and act methodology. So we have to analyze what's out there, to use what we have in terms of our spiritual tools, particularly Laudato Si, and come up with some kind of prognosis. What can we do going forward? Because this is really, really important. So he has organized our groups to be able to share that with themselves in dialogue, but also to be proposing something to be considered. So I think this is just an incredible moment in our history to be able to grasp this time to really think about what we should do in the future, because we're aware of everything being interconnected. And who is to say this is the last pandemic, because we have a history of cases where we have to deal with terrible diseases. And we have to look at our behavior, we have to look at our eating patterns, we have a number of things to consider. And we already know the fact that so many people were in lockdown and restrictions, that we have some skies, people are seeing some skies they've never seen before, and animals are returning to their habitats. And people are finding they don't need as many things as they used to, and they're finding ways to connect with each other. So this sense of solidarity and being able to know what is essential for us is very important. And as St. Francis would tell us, first you do what you can, then you do what is essential, and then you do the impossible. So that's what we're doing. We're doing all of this in light of our faith, but a faith that is including other people of like minds, and also challenging us to find a way that we can work together no matter what the political divide can be. This is too important to politicize it. We need to be together with this. So I think Pope Francis, of course, is forward thinking, and he invites others to think. And so who knows where this will take us, but we are making the most of this opportunity, you know, the crisis and the opportunity, and we're moving into the opportunity, because as we're finding some of our countries are winding down with the pandemic, we have our newer countries in Africa and in South America who are really just starting to reach and to surge with with crisis cases. So we have to be together. We have to share what we know to make a difference in each other's lives. And seeing faces, you know, with the internet, we see each other across the globe. When you see a face, it's hard to forget it. And when they tell their stories, it enters your heart, and that doesn't leave very quickly when it's in the heart. So this is where we want to be. This is where we want to go forward with together.
Sister Sheila, you are very committed, as we said before, because you are the co-secretary of the Justice and Peace Commission of the two union, UISG and USG. You are also the international coordinator of the UISG campaign on Laudato Si, that is sowing hope for the planet.
Yes.
And this task gives you a panorama, a landscape of the reality of religious sisters committed for Laudato Si throughout the world.
Yes.
Can you share something with us?
Well, it's very exciting to be working with something that's providing hope. So just by saying sowing hope for the planet, you know, you're already being in a position to create something good and to be informed of what is good, and challenging one another to say, how can we be messengers of hope? And so we have a kind of an interactive framework on a website that our sisters and their contacts can go to find out what things are going on. So we find energy in terms of Canada, where the English and the French-speaking sisters got together and put together a plan for the environment that they shared, with Canada, but also with the lawmakers before the election. And it was a tremendous undertaking. The two groups have been together, and being together allowed them to help unite Canada with a country that has two different languages. We see the sisters making a special attention to look at where they are in the North and where they are in the South, and how can we help one another. It's a kind of an encouragement. So we have some of the sisters dealing with the plastics, for example, which we are all kind of inundated with that. But can we find a way that we can make some money? Can this be an employment opportunity? So we have the Sisters of the Holy Cross partnering with the sisters in Ghana with the project that then enabled them to set up a little business and to help clean their country. Then we have the Sisters of Notre Dame who are working in Brazil, and they are working with, there's hundreds of thousands of what you call people who pick the garbage for their living. And so they have set up like a transformation program with 3 other religious communities so they can accompany these people who are picking up the garbage, a lot of it plastic, for their own income, and to be with them, educate them, help them see a new life, look at different opportunities for themselves. Incredible. We have a sister that's a lawyer that's in the DRC and is using her skills to have friends for the environment. They go out and collect some of the data in terms of some of the destruction that's happening in their area with mining or other kinds of land grabbing episodes, and then use that data to address their politicians. They're taking pictures, they're taking specimens. Everyone can be a part of this. So we see ourselves standing up and making a difference. We have children writing plays. We have children on the radio singing songs. We have children going out and looking at the ocean, picking up the garbage and saying, what does this all mean? Where did it come from? How can I make a difference? We have composting going on. We have children planting trees, and if they're planting them, their families are planting them. So we have people that are involved in environmental committees from dioceses where they are learning how to care for the land and are given parts of the land to care for. We have a whole a wall of trees in Africa. People are finding ways to contribute to that. So it's all about being together, finding ways, share ways that we can make a difference, and getting the courage to stand up and say to our governments, you know what? We want no single-use plastics. And so is there a way that we can outlaw this and to hold ourselves accountable to that? So when we hear these voices, it gives us courage to make a difference and to really petition our corporations to look at some of this technical equipment and this dated obsolescence and try to find a way that we can reuse these things. The Green Deal, it has some very encompassing ways of really looking at how we are working with our corporations. What should be some of the standards? How should we be interacting with the people in the South and not just giving what our waste is for the South? To see pictures of the flooding that's taking place and the drought and saying, this is part of our family. And the sisters are doing this and they're writing about it, they're praying about it, and they're also looking at what are some of the women's issues. How can we bring those forward? You know, they often are the ones who are the most affected by this change. So can we raise up the way the women are really dealing with some of these problems? And can we make a difference? There is this new commission that's being developed for the deacons, the deaconesses. So to study that, can we have a new energy? Can we learn from that? So we see this whole way of working together as a campaign, orchestrating, finding what people are doing and celebrating it in the best way that we can. We have the Ursulines, we have the Mercies, we have the Franciscans, we have the Columbans. We have all of us working together, trying to make a loud voice to say, this is what we need to do. And that's what the campaign is about. And we use our website, we use the webinars also to highlight the work. So for example, coming up, we'll have the French constellation. We have like 35, 36 different constellations. 40 of their leaders have signed documents talking about what they're doing in terms of sowing hope for the planet. We're going to publish that. We want people to see the work that they're doing. And the way that we are raising it up, it is a way to encourage others to do similar work. And we want that kind of partnering to take place so that our voice can say, we have done it and you can do it, and let's do it together and let's make a difference. So it's a very exciting piece to be involved in. So thank you for asking about this campaign. And as I said, it's an initiative of the sisters because we are in communities around the globe. We have the face of the family. We have a spirit of inclusivity. We have a spirit of being there where the needs are. And we have a spirit of trying to work together to really sow hope for the planet.
Thank you, Sheila, for your sharing, but also for your enthusiasm. It's contagious. But I know that you work in networking with other organizations like the Global Catholic Movement for Climate, the Dicastery for Human Integral Development. So, and we heard that the Dicastery launched 1 year dedicated to Laudato Si. So from May 2020 to May 2021. So the last question is what we can expect from this year of events also as UISG and the campaign?
Well, because this rollout pair is very foresight, has a lot of foresight, and it's a beginning of something that could last 7 years. So what we're looking for is religious congregations, individuals willing to make a commitment to sustainability. So that really means looking carefully at the energy sources, not only that, but how we dispose of our waste, our transportation that takes place, how we network with one another in our local communities, as well as how do we network north and south. So it's a way of saying, for example, what is it in my life that I need to change, that we need to change going forward? Now, we have been working on this as a little project because the idea is to put together some resources, kind of a tool to help the sisters, because that's the group that I'm focusing on, and the male religious who want to be invited, who also want to be included, on a kind of an assessment journey. So we'll do the see, the judge, and the act, giving some tools for our sisters to look at what's happening, and you're looking at some resources that they can reflect on, educate, be inspired by, and determine actions. And we will do this in a way that, let's look at the carbon footprint. Can we look at what we're doing in terms of the disposable items? What about the healthcare issues? What about the economy? How are we sharing those resources? What kind of a system do we have in place that's renewable? And are we helping that be a reality? And then how can we make a stand? What is it, the voice that we want to bring forward? So we have this kind of an assessment tool, but then also a way to really gear it towards religious congregations, because GCCM is very involved in parish work, and the dicastery is very involved in diocesan work. However, our religious are involved in everything. And so we have been asked to kind of show a leadership in that capacity. And so that's why we've been doing some thinking ahead. So where we are involved in parishes, where we are involved in healthcare, where we are involved in universities, where are we involved with in our institutions where we're really teaching future leaders, and how are we helping them form a mindset to make a difference, to look at more than profit as a way of being successful. So this is kind of the rollout plan that we want to put some meat on and some structure on, and to publicize and to organize and to orchestrate going forward to help our sisters give some guidance in this way, invite them going forward. And with this campaign, There is going to be recognition of those who are doing the work. There's going to be kind of a self-evaluative tool, so they can click off and say, I did this, I did this, I did this, and a little bit of a certificate saying, thank you, you've done that, and different levels, so that we can move along in a gradual way, and a way that helps deepen our spirituality. So what we're being called on, and what we're asking our religious communities, is to go further with where their charism is. Our charism is one of being prophets, but we have to be prophets who have been able to witness to the values that we hold and be able to engage others in that same effort. And so that's where we're going. It's an exciting journey, but what's exciting is that when I looked at the reports, the commitments that are coming in from the different constellations, which they had made these commitments back about a year ago, it's exciting to see that they took them that they're taking them seriously, and they're trying to find a way forward. We have a little bit of a glitch because of the coronavirus and stopped some of the meeting places and all of that, but the energy is there, and we want to capitalize on that. And we certainly are going to be a vital part in this rollout plan, because we have the section that's for religious congregations, and we want to be in there together. So
thank you, Sheila, for all your work, for all your energy, but also to bring about this issue with women eyes and religious women eyes, because I think this is very important, and perhaps there is a difference, you know, in living Laudato Si as a woman. So thank you very much. You talk about the webinar, so I just want to remind that the next webinar of the campaign Sowing Hope for the Planet will be June the 10th at 2 p.m. Rome time. We will send out the flyer in a few days because we are working on that. So just save the date. June the 10th, 4 languages will be available to talk about good practices from religious life in terms of Laudato Si. Thank you very much, Sheila. Have a nice day. And do not forget to pray together Sunday at 12 p.m. Rome time, all together the prayer for Laudato Si, because it's the last day of the Laudato Si week. The prayer is in the Laudato Si week org, the website, sorry, but we will also share it in our social media today and the following day. So thank you very much, Sheila, and keep going.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you.